Hello, 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 Ghetto Nubian. Welcome to the Ghetto Planet one more time. And this week in true style of Infishin Fishy and Ngabangoza, Benge style, Hula Bula style, Upsane, Copseton, Halter Skelter on mental wellness. I decided to just give a glimpse of who I am as we take this journey together. Well, I don't know how many languages I'm really well vexed in, but I know that I have a lot of languages I understand and can respond to, and also sometimes I might just understand and can't respond to. So to show how sometimes my mind works, or rather how sometimes I have this confusion, it's due to the fact that I have some languages that are so centered in me, so much that wherever I go, I try to always maintain those languages. And then there are languages that I've had to learn just so that I can integrate. All right, so looking at the situation right now that I have, it's basically, before I go on, let me just say that I am happy and proud that I have all those languages. And for me, it's not just a glimpse into someone's culture or into understanding someone, but a way of, like I said before, integration, and a way of being part of a conversation, and a way of understanding where I am at that current particular time without having to be kind of a nonsense by asking other people what's happening or what are they saying or what's going on. And also seeing how I love talking. It's a joy as well to know the languages that I know, because then I'm part of what's happening around me and I can communicate with the same language and know that in my poor way of using their language, I am heard and also appreciated for trying. So yeah, the question is, how does language play a role in our mental space? I think it differs from person to person. For me, like I said, it's mostly about understanding the culture, understanding where I am at a particular place, and learning the etiquette, also seeing how I enjoy jokes and laughter and joy. I need to know a language so I can understand the jokes and so that I can trail along when there is jokes being shared around me. So on this one, I'm gonna be just randomly using the languages that are kind of at the forefront right now, and to show what I mean by different languages. For example, my mother tongues were Ndebele, Shona, and Sotho. Northern Sotho, I think in South Africa they say, which is Pedi in South Africa. So those were the foremost languages that I had until I started school, whereby I now started schooling in English, though there were language subjects, but my whole education was English focused, English oriented. And dare I say, I am an Oxford education someone. So for those who know, you know what it means. So yeah, so in my mother tongues, which in most of the times I get asked, are you saying that those are languages or dialects? Well, today I'm saying it's up to you to define what they are. So I'll give you an example of Sawubona. That's in Ndebele for one person, but for more than one person, and also for our elders, we say Salibonani. And then in response there is Yebo Unjani or Yebo Linjani. And when we say those greetings, we kind of siyavioca. This is where the imbalances come in. Because of all those languages that I have in my head, sometimes I tend to mix words, and sometimes I tend to confuse one word for another language, or else it's just that one word can be twisted in 2 or 3 different languages. And I most of the times do it without realizing, though at some point I get to realize that that's what I'm doing, and then it becomes a joke. That's when I laugh at myself. And some of the languages, I know that I'm freaking away from what I was talking about, but I'll be back. Some of the languages we ended up combining, like in Sweden, we ended up saying Swenglish, meaning a mixture of Swedish and English in a sentence. So you will notice that I do that a lot. Or if I don't do that, I just drop a word from a different language. That's what I do. So yeah, this again shows you the imbalances that happen in my headspace. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. There is all others out there who do the same or feel the same. So sometimes when you really want to make a point and you're lost, it can also be, whatever you're saying can also be lost in translation. Or the punch of whatever you're saying can be lost due to the fact that you ran out of the word you wanted to use and ended up throwing a word maybe the recipient doesn't even understand what it means. So yeah, so as I was saying, back to the topic. See, I didn't forget. Right, so it's Sawubona and Salbonani and Yebo Unjani or Linjani, and that's in Ndebele. And for those of you who speak Ndebele, please correct me if I'm wrong here. But what I know is that according to culture, I don't, the younger one doesn't get to say Salbonani. No. The younger one is the one who gets to say Salbonani, but cannot ask how the elders are. It's up to the elders to then ask the young one. And then comes Shona. And then in Shona, what we do is Moroi, Makadi. That's for now more than one person and the elders. Otherwise, if it's just one individual and it's one of your peers, then, or someone younger than you, then you say Moro, and then Makadi. And in Shona, it can go as well with clapping hands, and mostly this way is for the ladies, and then for the men, it's usually this way. I think I might be doing the sound wrong, but this is the movement that they do compared to the women that we do this. And also in Shona, greetings can be done after there's been a chit chat thrown around. Only then, when people now sit down and they circle, then the greetings start. And depending on whether it's a Ndebele speaking person or a Shona speaking person, what happens is that the etiquettes that's supposed to be followed have consequences if not followed. So I am still trying to give you all the details, or as much details as I can, so that you can decide whether it's a dialect or a language. And then now comes the Sotho. The Sotho, we didn't use it so much at home, but when now I moved to South Africa, where I'm a resident, of course, that's when now I started learning more of the etiquettes and also more of the language, because I needed to use it. My first job had a lot of Tswana speaking and Sotho speaking, so I had to pick up some of the words and pick up the language so that I can be part of the workforce there. So in Sotho we say Dumela or Dumelang, and then you answer Ahe Ukai Ela Nikai. So there it is. Do you still think that my mother tongues are dialects or languages? And for now, I'm gonna tune to another language. So okwamanje ngizokhuluma isiNdebele, and then laba bangazi isiNdebele, I will try and write subtitles of look ngizozama ukubhala phansi ama-subtitles yalokho engiyabe ngikhuluma ngakho. IsiNdebele saseZimbabwe thina sasesi-adopthe amagama amaningi esilungu, so it wasn't only awesilungu, sasihlanganisa amanye vele egoli amanye kuya ngaphi. So IsiNdebele saseZimbabwe sa-evolve, I think, faster than some languages do. And so mangikhuluma amanye amabala angiwajayelanga ngesiNdebele qho, so ngiwazi ngesilungu, so ngiyabe ngimixa makuwukuthi ngiyakhuluma isiNdebele. Pachishona pachinja kaitika ndisho kuti ndakakurira muMatabeleland asi sezvo ndiri mushona nehama dzangu dzimwe dzaive mashona, amanaged kuti ndirambe ndichitaura chishona chiya. So chishona nechiNdebele zvinhu zviri very incorporated mu-everyday life yangu, and so ndogona kungoswitcha from one to the other depending kuti ndiri kutaura nani. And then so too most of the times I had to use it with friends in South Africa more than with my relatives, because most of them were now mixed as well, because the Sotho part was paternal for most of my relatives. So the mothers brought in other languages, so thereby their upbringing had multiple languages from start. So we tended to use languages epatine tichigara avo vanga vachigara ku Mashonaland side, then vaka-adopta kutaura chishona sterek kunda Sotho, and then avo vaigara ku Matabeleland side vaka-adopta Ndebele sterek kunda chi Sotho. Asi zvisingarevi kuti havagoni Sotho yacho, asi zvisingarevi kuti chikafu chavo nematraditions avo havavazivi, vaingowatevera. So that's the same with Ndebele. So fortunately for me, I had all those three from start. And then from the streets where I grew up, I had other languages. There was Nyanja, there was I think people from Malawi as well, friends from Malawi, and maybe they also spoke Nyanja. I'm not so sure about that. And then I dated in that mixed up situation as well. So from there I picked up a little bit of Nyanja. So ndikamba just a bit, and I understand a whole lot than I can Kamba. So, and also some of Nyanja is similar to Shona words and stuff like that. Basically what I'm saying is that I have a lot of languages going on in my head, and I tend to mix them. So this week I'm gonna do short stints of those different languages. So peace out for now with the English, Ndebele and Shona, and a little bit of Sotho and a little bit of Nyanja. Next, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. I'll surprise you. Mind you, there's nothing wrong with knowing several languages. It becomes an issue in your mental space when it's something that's being forced upon you, when it's something that you are forced to not use due to the fact of where you are. And also it becomes an issue when there is so much pressure of you adhering to someone else's language more than yours. And also it's hectic when you're trying to fill up forms or to communicate in a new country where there is a language that you don't understand, to communicate with authorities, to seek help, or to even get education. It becomes an issue when you are made to feel inferior just because you can't speak someone else's language, whereas they can't even manage yours. So every time when someone says to me, what are you trying to say, in that ridiculing way, and they are doing it with superiority over me, then it becomes an issue, because I start feeling inadequate, I start feeling inferior, I start feeling like an imbecile, which I think is a people. We should not do that to each other, especially when one is trying a new language or one is trying your language. It's not out of disrespect that I mispronounce your language's words. It's out of trying, out of that open-mindedness that I am. So yes, without that, learning languages is joyful. only when now it's pressured on us, it loses and it takes away the joy that some of us look at learning languages as. And also it's a huge issue when you are unable to get in the workforce due to the fact that you do not have a particular language, which by somehow it feels like discrimination, because chances are high that one can do that job. It's just the language barrier. And though saying that, most of the countries, for example the ones I've been in, they can speak English, but I think for fear of losing themselves, for fear of losing their language, they refuse to hear you out in a language that, in a common language, I'd rather say. So then when that is happening, that's when now it causes imbalances in our mental space. So again, languages, joyful, and a window to new culture and new whatever. But when the pressure is on and you can't survive, or it's affecting your way of surviving, then it's not fun anymore.
Hej, så på den jag ska använda svenska så att visa att jag kan prata olika språk. Den är svenska. Jag är utbildad i svenska som andra språk, och också jag gör en program i svenska också. Så ja, som jag säger med de andra språk, att jag har flera språket i mig, så ibland jag blandar dem utan att tänka. So that's a bit of my Swedish. I can use it in conversations or in courses, like I said, because I've done that. So there you are.